Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition came out on the 14th of November back in 2019. Since then, 12 major game updates came out, adding features, changing civilizations, and overall keeping the game fresh and evolving. Although we're a bit over a year into it only, it's still hard to believe at this point 2 years ago we had to wait for years for a balance change to arrive in HD or a new user patch version to come out for Woolly users. I think it's safe to say at this point the game is more alive than it's ever been before. In this video, I'm gonna go through what the first 12 major updates brought to the game, and to keep it manageable, we'll be ignoring hot fixes and the bugs they took care of since that would bring the number of updates up to 26. I'll also highlight some of the changes that I personally think are the most important, but the full release notes for each month will be linked in the video description, and if you feel like I skipped over something worth mentioning, feel free to share it with the others in the comments below. As a refresher, let's go first through the changes that the Definitive Edition brought to the game in the first place, and then we'll build up from there. Improved assets. The entirety of the existing AoE2 assets got reworked at higher resolutions with smoother animations and the ability to zoom in and out. Voiceovers also got remastered, as well as the soundtracks, campaigns, the UI, and everything you expect from a Definitive Edition. For new content, at launch the game also brought the bundled expansion, The Last Cans. This introduced 4 new civilizations and 4 new campaigns. For the first time on AoE2, we got dedicated servers for online games, and matchmaking came built into the game for ranked matches. Empire Wars was introduced as a new game mode, and we also got a spectating mode added to the game. The game got better tutorials for new players through the Art of the War series, new minimap modes were added, a built-in grid view for the terrain was added as well, and the AI got a lot smarter and could now be interacted with by using taunts and commands. As for the quality of life improvements, we got automatic farm receiving, global queue, mixed queue, command queues, and auto pack and unpack for trebuchets. For balance changes, we lost tracking, which became a free stat boost, but supplies were added as a new technology. Besides that, Palisade Gate foundations lost their armor, towers got nerfed, and a myriad of other balance changes addressed some long-standing issues but kept the identity of civilizations mostly unchanged. Moving on to the first game update, the December patch brought many changes to the game. Medals got added to the campaigns. Auto wall completion got disabled when placing palisade walls individually, like for quick walling, and players could now ban maps from the map pool for matchmaking. The next stage sound now was different compared to the chat sound, so RIP has advanced to the Imperial Age mind tricks. The new civilizations and the Steppe Lancers got nerfed significantly, and Plume Archers got pricier finally. January instead brought mostly balance changes, and now Chinese and Mayans started getting their extra villagers only after finishing building the TC Nomad start maps. Chinese received block printing for historical accuracy, but it made their monks insane. Khmer got a new bonus in which farmers didn't need mills or TCs to drop food on anymore, and for King of the Hill, the monuments started generating resources for the controlling player. For other changes, heritables could then be garrisoned in transport ships, and trade units started prioritizing the furthest away markets. February brought what I consider the first major feature addition to the game, and quite a controversial one at the time as well. We're of course talking about auto scouting that was added to your starting scout. The Utopian Age project began as well by introducing player reporting and the profanity filter as well. For other general changes, villagers no longer dropped collected resources instantly when tasked to a different resource by default. And for balance changes, the God Infantry bonus started being applied in the Dark Age, which yielded some of the most hilarious games that I've ever seen, like that 100 population Dark Age game that you can find on my YouTube channel. Mongols also received Steppe Lancers, Teutons got extra melee armor on barracks units in the castle and Imperial Ages, and finally, the Vietnamese didn't have to pay wood for eco upgrades anymore as a civilization bonus. March came in hot as probably one of the most substantial updates yet, as 4 new Art of War missions got added: Land Battle, Destroying a Castle, Naval Battle, and Battle Formations. 2 new maps, 4 Lakes and Golden Swamp, got introduced, inspired by community maps Cross and Cup. New features also debuted, as a profile hub was introduced when hovering over player names, a player profile page was also added to the main menu, different 1v1 and team game map pools also debuted, and the tech tree was made accessible while queuing for online matches. Players could now choose their color in ranked games, which also determined their position in team games. For balance, Tatars received the Flaming Camel as a new unit through the Imperial Age unique technology, as well as 3 thumb rings as a civilization bonus. Chinese lost Redemption to compensate for the previous edition of block printing. Cumans got also a new bonus to access the Catram upgrade in the Castle Age. And Goths got their cheaper infantry bonus staggered, and although they lost Arson, they also gained extra bonus damage against buildings from infantry units. Tatar and Cumans unique technology started affecting the Steppe Lancers and many other smaller changes. In April, the Display Future Technologies feature was added, which allowed players to see which technologies they'd be getting access to at later ages in the command panel. A dynamic grid feature allowed players to enable the grid automatically when placing buildings or maneuvering ranged units. Fishermen were now allowed to drop their food at docks as well. For balance, Empire Wars saw Chinese and Mayans lose their extra villagers, and Incas lost their free llama in this mode as well. Bulgarians lost paladins, but Nailan units started getting affected by their Castle Age unique technology. Goths got free loom as a civilization bonus. Indian fishermen got nerfed. Khmer lost bombard cannons and their farmers became a bit slower. Lightus got buffed, and Lithuanian trash got stronger by receiving extra anti-projectile armor by the unique technology. Persians lost a faster working bonus for TCs and dogs for the Dark Age, and Teutons got the extra melee armor for the stable units in addition to barracks units. While May marked the 6th monthly update, it did not really bring too many changes as some of the previous patches. Indian camels as well as Arambai with Manipur cavalry got buffed against buildings with masonry. El Dorado research time got increased by 40%, and for changes, continuing the multiplayer refinements, the grace period during which players could resign without losing elo got removed. As per usual, many AI and minor map changes also took place, but we're not gonna be going through those over here. It is worth mentioning though, that this month in particular introduced a lot more localization fixes, which hopefully helped integrate the international community a little bit better. While June was skipped, the July update did not really bring as many changes, but it did bring a new game mode. The Mongol Raiders scenario was added, making it the first official competitive scenario in the game with leaderboards and everything. Land Nomad was also officially added as the 3rd community-inspired new map. For features, a preferred map option was added to the game, so we go back to 90% plus of games being on Arabia. A preferred random civilization option was added to the queue to look for players who also want to play random civs. The map pools for random match and deathmatch got split, resulting in 4 different queues. Player lookup was added to the player menu to search for players and manage them or report them, and a lobby ban feature was added to prevent specific players from joining your games. Mixer button also got removed from the main menu, Rib Mixer. And for changes, riderless horses and camels could now be transported in ships, and there was a new feature added so that players could ignore buildings when attacking while holding the Alt key. For balance, battle elephants got nerfed, condottieri got buffed, cataphracts in general became a lot more accessible with the elite and logistica upgrades getting discounted. Moving on to the August update, this is probably the smallest update since release. August didn't bring a lot of changes, as would also be the case in the next few months. Most notably, it was the game's webpage that got updated. Most importantly, they added the ability to download recorded games from other players, which can be super useful for learning and improving purposes. And besides that, the usual bunch of map tweaking and little bug fixes filled the rest of the release notes. For September, we got a small handful of changes too. Most notably, the Barbarossa Brawl holdout scenario was added, and it replaced the Mongol Raiders. In the release notes, there was a promise to bring these scenarios back in a specialized section within the game, which has not materialized as of the date of this video, but I'm sure it's coming soon. For changes, some map tweaking and bug fixes filled the rest of the release notes as well, and there was also an official support website open for people to get troubleshooting help. If August and September felt thin, October would be the description of a paper update. It released and had some minor bug fixes, but by and large the game stayed virtually unchanged. Now, the November patch might be the reason why the previous months were a bit lacking, and it brought a heap of changes. For content, the new Battle Royale mode was added, pitching players against each other and the clock. A new Quick Play functionality was added for unranked matchmaking, supporting random map, Battle Royale, and Empire Wars. For more miscellaneous changes, now when placing a wall, the suggested layout started using diagonal lines to project the shortest path as opposed to L-shaped walls. Monks also got a new fate bar added underneath their health bar. For balance, we got a lot of changes. As now wall foundations also joined palisade gates in getting their armor removed. Battle elephants got nerfed against buildings. Zolotol warriors got buffed for post-imp starting games. Jaguar warriors got their training time reduced significantly. Bulgarian blacksmith got buffed, and a 50% full discount to blacksmith and siege workshop upgrades was added as a civilization bonus. Keep checks got nerfed. Goths lost their free loom and got instant research time instead. Indian stable units got changed, so they got extra pierce armor in the castle and Imperial Ages at the cost of losing plate barden armor. Khmer farmers got further nerfed. Koreans got free archer armor upgrades as a civilization bonus, but lost their free extra range and towers. This, instead, became the new Castle Age unique technology, replacing the old one which got integrated into the civilization for free. Obsidian arrows got tweaked for the last time. Portuguese gained a civilization bonus of 30% faster research and technologies. Tatars got their extra 2 sheep bonus changed, so it affects newly built TCs after Fidel only. And Turks got +1 pierce armor on scout line units as a civilization bonus. For fixes, the tech tree was updated to display the correct values for many bonuses and technologies. AI, map, and scenario scripting received a big chunk of additions and fixes, and the update also brought a lot of situational bug fixes, including some legacy issues. Moving on to the last update of the list, January brought the first official expansion for AoE2 DE, Lords of the West. The new expansion brought 2 new civilizations, Burgundians and Sicilians, as well as 3 new campaigns. The base game got 5 new maps. The expansion also added a new building, a new military unit with construction and repair capabilities, and new game-changing mechanics and technologies that we had never seen before in Age of Empires 2. For other changes, stats added automatically to units started displaying as base stats, such as the extra attack for scouts in the Field Age. Gaia was also changed, so it had a white color instead of grey. The long-standing exploits that allowed players to scan areas without vision using blueprints also got fixed. For balance changes, multiple TC start maps now granted extra vills and the starting lamp to Chinese, Mayans and Incas respectively from a single TC as opposed to from all of them. Palisade walls and gates got their HP reduced by 40% in the Dark Age. Cavalry archers got their attack delay buffed. Arambai got rebalanced, so their base attack was lower, but missing projectiles dealt full damage if hitting adjacent units. Frank foragers lost a chunk of their speed bonus. Atheism got reworked so it reduced the gold income from relics to enemies by 50%. Italian dogs got nerfed but gained a university buff. Mayans lost obsidian arrows altogether and it got replaced by Hulche javelineers instead. Saracens also lost their staggered bonus attack against buildings for archers, but gained extra HP for camels as a new civilization bonus. The team bonus for bonus damage against buildings from archers got increased though. And finally, Tatars lost their free sheep in the Field Age. As a second big update in a row since the November patch, a lot of AI, map and scenario scripting fixes and features landed in the patch as well. While this update was probably the most disruptive yet, and many things did not really feel H2-like, I think the dust is starting to settle, and most importantly, this paves the way for Age of Empires 4 somewhat. With these new mechanics and civ identities, the community will have a chance to adapt to the type of civilization differentiation I believe Age of Empires 4 will come with. This means that when Age of Empires 4 eventually releases, it probably will not feel like such a dramatic departure from the franchise to Age of Empires 2 fans. And by the way, if you would like to see more Age of Empires 4 content, check out my in-depth trailer analysis video where I go through both the gameplay trailer and the behind the scenes development trailer to try and uncover what the game will be like. You will find the link for it in the description below. Back to Age of Empires 2, if the statements on the anniversary patch are something to go by, we'll have a lot more in store in the future. Now that the Lords of the West is out and hopefully it generates enough income to keep everyone working, we'll get an even more polished game in the few months to come. So which one was your favorite update? Do you like the general direction the game is taken? Let me know in the comments below, as I would love to hear what you think about it. And if you would like to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe and like the video so I know you enjoyed it. And you can also catch me live in my live stream, which is also linked below in the description. Until next time, have a good one. He's only gonna be able to go for the castles behind the towers, which is not good enough, because then ACCM is still going to have this tower up, which is still gonna be denying these resources, so he's not really gonna be securing any resources by going for the castle. He's just gonna be relieving a little bit of the pressure. He's gonna be getting a little bit more surface area on his own base by taking the towers down.